Ghita Harris-Newton, she is Chief Privacy Officer by Quantcast, and now I have to switch to English. Welcome to Europe, welcome to Cologne, to the DMEXCO. Is this your first DMEXCO?
This is my first DMEXCO, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And how do you like it?
It's great, it's huge, but lots of great meetings, lots of good information, so I'm happy to be here, and a beautiful city.
We have a very exciting topic now for our talk, GDPR, DSVGO. GDPR, the regulation, it does have an impact on the American market as well, on the international market. How's your first attitude on GDPR?
Overall, I think the idea behind GDPR of protecting consumers, protecting their privacy, their data is fantastic, and adding transparency, consent, choice is a good thing that Quantcast really supports, and I feel strongly about as well.
But it does change your business in the States as well, does it?
It absolutely changes business in the States. A company like Quantcast, many companies operate internationally and like to have one set of data practices, one set of policies globally. So where in Europe, GDPR is really the most stringent data protection law in the world, we find that we put into place internal operations globally that essentially comply with GDPR.
On Inbound 18 that take place last week in Boston, I heard very often GDPR it's pain in the ass. So do you think there are a lot of companies in the US who are driven out of the European market by GDPR?
I think that there have been some. So we've seen some of our peer companies, in fact, leave the European market because of GDPR. I don't think that's the majority. I think depending on where we see now how GDPR gets interpreted by the data protection authorities, it could make it harder to do business. You could see some leaving, but I think it sort of remains to be seen.
You told me before that there is a certain impact of GDPR on the regulation, on the data protection regulation in the US. This is a very interesting point of us. We never realized that in the US is anything changed because of European regulation. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Absolutely. I think regulators in the US have absolutely been watching to see how GDPR plays out and been hearing consumers now in the US saying, wait a second, what about our privacy rights too? Some of the same scandals that have impacted Europeans have impacted Americans also. So in the US we're seeing increased discussions by regulators at the federal level of privacy, enacting comprehensive privacy legislation. We've also seen in California, a large data protection bill was enacted recently that goes into effect in the year 2020, and we've seen other states looking to pass legislation as well. So we're absolutely feeling GDPR as a model spreading elsewhere in the world.
Do you think there are coming chances from GDPR?
Can you repeat the question?
Sorry. Do there come any chances from the GDPR regulation? Chances for the players, chances for the market?
Chances for the players in the market. I think many changes for everyone. I think industry is coming together to try and work out common solutions, which has been very helpful, and I think ultimately will be for the benefit of consumers. We've already seen this sort of providing enhanced choices and transparency information about data, so I think it's been a really positive thing.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to us, and much fun on the rest of DMEXCO.
Thank you so much.